Hello, and welcome back. It's time. Uh, we have to have a talk. You know, the awkward talk. It's about regular expressions. It's kind of difficult. It looks kind of disgusting, but I'm going to walk you through it, and we'll get through it together. All right, we're going to do freeCodeCamp intermediate algorithm scripting, and we're going to be working on Spinal Tap Case. That's the name of the problem. But more importantly, we're going to be working through regular expressions or regex. So let me share my screen. I'll show you what we're going to be doing today. Share that out. So here is the problem. freeCodeCamp. Here's the solution sitting right here, by the way, as I was playing with this and testing it, and I can delete that out for us. But essentially, we want to be given a string, and I want to replace every space with a simple dash here. All right. So that seems pretty easy. We've done something like that, but there's going to be more to this. So if we take a look all the way down here, you can see that down here, we have all the small things. Now we know that all is starts with a capital letter. The starts with a capital letter. So these are two separate words. We need to write a function that is smart enough to not just replace any space or underscore actually with a dash, but also be able to separate words. All right. So, and these words are designated by a small letter than a capital letter. So the way to do this is going to be, well, the only way I really know how to do this is with regular expressions. So how are we going to do that? Okay. So let's take a look at the suggested links. The suggested links start with replace here. So string.prototype.replace, so it's a string method. And the string takes in a parameter of either a substring or a regular expression, and we've done this before, and we just replace it with a new substring. Or we could use a function as well. There's also other parameters we could take in, but I'm not worried about that right now. So let's go down to an example. So here you go, string.replace. We want to replace Xmas. Ignore the case, that's what this I stands for, with Christmas. And we get "twas the night before Christmas." So we're just replacing something. All right, so just remember that we have these parentheses, what we want to replace, comma, what we want to replace it with. And we're going to be using regular expressions to do this. Let's take a look at regular expressions here. So regular expressions are patterns used to match character combinations in strings, all right? In JavaScript, regular expressions are also objects, and we can test using things like match, replace, search, and split. All right, so those are all string methods we can use with the regular expressions. All right, and if you take a look at this, this is long explanation, lots of documentation on our regular expressions. And again, this seems to only really scratch the surface of it. So you can really do a whole lot of research on this. But what we're really looking for is that we have things that are in parentheses. So there's something that's in parentheses, okay? And here's something that's in parentheses. Now, in between them, there's something there, okay? And they start and end with this /. Okay, that's something to note. So I have a / beginning, a / ending, and I have this set of parentheses, something, and another set of parentheses. And what's important here is we have a script that uses this $1 and $2 here to make sure that we have John space Smith. So we want to replace, all right? And then here you notice we call this 2 and this 1, all right? And we get Smith, comma, John. So we're going to keep coming back to this in a little while, but just know that if we have things in multiple things in parentheses here, all right, the first thing we can designate out with this $1, and then the next one we can designate out with that $2. Something to keep in mind moving forward. But we really don't understand what regex is. So here's a nice website. Here's the link up here. And this has been extremely helpful. Now, regular expressions I've used, copied and pasted some regular expression codes for other problems that I've needed, and didn't really worry about what they meant, and I kind of understood, but not so much. So this was the time I had to go in and really try to comprehend what was going on. The first thing I'm going to do is click over here to this cheat sheet, and it's going to give me a cheat sheet on what a bunch of these different what a bunch of this syntax means. So here you have a dot, all right, which is any character except for a new line. We have a lowercase w for any word, a lowercase d, actually a backslash d for a digit, a backslash, lowercase s for white space, and you've actually could notice that back here, this backslash s, and note a backslash and a forward slash are different things. So then we also have things that are in brackets. We can use carets for not letters, and I can use a simple dash or this little minus sign to have a character between a character set. But what's really cool about this website is not just this little cheat sheet, but we have this test text, and we can put in some regular expression here, and it'll highlight exactly what this syntax is up here. And we have, let's start off with some basic stuff. So we're going to start off with /, which is open, and we end with a /. All right. So if we go into our freeCodeCamp and we start with // notice, oh, it's a comment. But if we separate it, we can put something inside of that. And now we know that we're going to be looking at a regular expression. Okay. So those /s just says, okay, we're using regular expressions. However, after our closing / here, we have what are called flags. So different flags we can have are G. All right. If we go over to flags, you can see G for global, I for ignore case, and M for multi-line. Global just means that it's throughout our entire document or what we're searching, and ignore case, well, ignores the case. So we can do IG or GI here, all right, and you can see how that differently affects what we want. But in this current example, we don't want to ignore case because we really want to understand what's going on here. So let's move on to the next thing. So what we're doing is inside of here, okay, inside of here is all of our regular expressions. Then we are using parentheses next. So parentheses are going to signify a capture group, all right, which are a group of letters, numbers, whatever it is that are together that we want to capture in a certain substring. For example, so we have our first capture group, and in our first capture group, we have something that has in square brackets, and a square bracket is a character set, all right? So I want to match any characters. And this one literally says A to Z. And just as you would expect, it's going to capture A to Z. Now, A to Z is capitalized, which is why I didn't want to ignore case before. So, excuse me. Anyway, so we didn't want to ignore case before because we actually want to see what this does. So A to Z. Notice that it says that A to Z, and they're using char code 65 to 90. Now, we've done this in the Caesar Cipher Challenge where we use from char code and char code at in order to access these char codes and go from letters to codes. So you can kind of see what's going on in the background of these regular expressions and how they work. But essentially right now we're only looking at capital A to Z. And again, they're referencing those character codes. So any letters capital A to Z is where it's going to start. And that is just our first capture group. So it's going to search through everything and look for capital letters. Then next, touching it, it says word. Match any word character. So it's a lowercase w, which is over here, which is word. So it's any alphanumeric character and underscore. So we're looking for a capital letter followed by or touching anything that is alphanumeric underscore. And then we have this plus. And this plus says match any one or more of the preceding token. What that means is, so we have one in this capture group of a capital letter, and then keep matching with this plus any alphanumeric or underscore. So here's a capital W, and now we're going to grab any alphanumeric yes, alphanumeric yes, alphanumeric yes, all the way till we get to this E. And the next thing is a white space. A white space is not alphanumeric or underscore. Therefore, it stops. And you can see what it's highlighting. So it would actually identify this right here. Similarly here, we're going to follow this capital letter, keep going, capital E, all right, and then keep going. Oh, look, white space. White space is not alphanumeric or underscore. And you can kind of see how this kind of plays out in this document here. Okay. If you want to ignore the case and just kind of see what happens, oh, look, it highlights everything, whether it starts with a capital letter or a lowercase letter, and just keeps highlighting. All right. We could also add in more things as well. We could say we want capital A to M, capital M. All right. Or with this little pipe here, let's say or N to Z. Oh, look, we got the same thing. So I can match A to M, or acts as the Boolean or. Oh, so we can use this pipe for an or as well, which is what we're gonna be using later on here as well. All right, so you can kind of see. So we have our capture group, and then it's saying whatever this capture group is what we're going to start with, and then the next thing touching it, all right, is going to be any word character. If I got rid of this plus, what would happen? Oh, look, it only does the capital letter and what comes next, a capital letter and what comes next. But if I add in this plus, it's going to keep going until this condition is no longer met. Okay, so hopefully that's a little bit clearer for everybody. And we're going to try to use this to solve our problem. So what I'm going to do is we have an argument that's brought into our function, and that argument is str for string, touchpad, str for string. And I'm going to set this equal to str.replace. And I want to replace. Remember, so replace is going to have something in, comma, something out. All right. So let's start off with that. So I'll replace again, something in like Xmas and something out. So we can say 'twas the night before Christmas instead of Xmas. Okay. And we can put in regular expressions. Notice now, in this example, they have // right? And they have an I for ignore case. So they're using regular expressions here. And since we don't have a certain capture group, it's only going to take these exact values, so the X, M, A, S. But we are going to use a capture group here. So what capture group do we want? What are we looking for to begin with? Well, it's easy enough for us to do a simple replace to replace anything that is a space or an underscore with a dash here. But what I want to do is I'm going to try to do the harder thing first. I'm going to try to create a space between this right here. So we have all the small things. So we know we have a new word because we have a lowercase letter followed by an uppercase letter. All right. So, and then I want to replace this lowercase letter, uppercase letter with a lowercase letter space uppercase letter. So let's start off with this here, and I would need a regular expression. So here you go. Oh, it looks like it comments it out, but I can type in here. So I'm going to start off with a regular expression, and I'm going to create a capture group there. That capture group is going to be lower, all right? And then I need that capture group to be touching another capture group, which is going to be case, okay? And then I know that I want to search everything here, so I can just add that G for global. And I can't ignore case, right? I'm going to make this a little clearer, upper. All right, ignore case there. All right, so let's figure out what regular expression I can use here. So I have a lowercase touching an uppercase. So I need a lowercase a through Z. So here you could see any character between A and G. in the beginning of this example here, what they gave us, I'll just reload this. Notice that we have a capture group here, any character set, all right, that matches A to Z, capital A to capital Z. Hey, look, that's exactly what we want. And similarly, we can just use the lowercase a to Z for the lowercase letters. So if we want this capture group here to be lowercase, all right, we need a character range. All right, so there we go. I need a character range. And if this is lower, I have to say A dash Z. So there we go. So notice I have a range of letters, any range of letters that's a lowercase letter in my first capture group. Now I want that touching something that's uppercase. So that uppercase, I need to create, all right, a new range, and that new range is going to be capital A, capital Z. So now I have something that has a small lowercase touching an uppercase. All right, so this is my regular expression that I'm looking for. This is what I'm looking for here in this example. All right, we want to separate that. So what do I want to replace that with? Well, I don't really want to replace these two letters. I just want to separate them. So let's go back to our regular expression here, and you can see in this example, John Smith, where we have first capture group. This stands for space, white space, and then another capture group here. What I'm looking for, and they use these $1 and $2 to switch John Smith with Smith John. So all I want is the first thing, then a space, then the second thing. So I can simply replace that with a string, and that string is going to be my $1 space $2. All right. So that sounds good. And then I'll finish that sentence. And then I want to see what we get. So here's all the small things. And let's just return str and see what happens. See if it did what I wanted it to. Oh, look, it's separated all the small things. So now I have this word separated. And that's really the hardest part of this challenge is figuring that part out. Now next, I need to make everything lowercase. So I can just add on here to lowercase. All right. And this to lowercase we've used before, and that's going to just take the entire string and make it to lowercase. There we go. It's all lowercase. Now, once we have this to lowercase, I can't just add on another replace. I have to start from a string. All right. So since I have to start from a string, it's not going to let me just tack that on the end. So instead of tacking on a new replace at the end of here to replace any of these spaces or underscores with dashes, all right, I'm just going to add it over here. So I'm going to add another replace, all right? And that replace, remember, all right, is going to take in two things, something that I'm looking for and something I want to replace it with. Well, I can start off by saying I already know what I want to replace it with. I know I want to replace any of that stuff with a dash. Okay, that's good. So what do I want to replace with a dash? I want to replace. That doesn't say explicitly. I want to replace any space or underscore, all right, with that dash. So how can we do that? Well, again, regular expressions. So going back to our regular expressions, all right, we've seen this thing. There's your white space right there. Also, if you go into your cheat sheet here, you can see that white space is here and here. It's your backslash lowercase s. So again, I'm going to designate regular expression. And what I want is a backslash s. I need a space. All right. Or do you remember how we had this thing? Mine's above the enter key for or. Now, generally, two of these is or for like JavaScript, but we're not doing two. You only need one for or for regular expression, or an underscore. Underscore, you can just put in underscore. So I have my space or underscore. And this is end of my regular expression, beginning of my regular expression. There's my comma for my replace, and I'm replacing it with a dash. Okay. So let's see here. I have a syntax error somewhere. Okay. So let's just take a look at this, and what did I miss here? It did not replace G. If I don't put that G, it's just going to find the first case, but I want all the cases, so G. Ta-da! We've underestimated you. So you can see that was actually a pretty good mistake to make in front of you, so you can see why we need that G. So it just doesn't grab one thing. It searches everything or the entire document that we want. Okay? So hopefully this was helpful to you and try to give you a better understanding of regular expressions, how to use them, and once you break them down into what it's doing, it's actually pretty simple, even though if you take a look at this expression here, it looks really complicated. But just try to break it down and try to understand what's going on. And like I said, this is a good website to help you out. Alrighty, so hopefully this was helpful, and I will see you